Hi everybody, Jason Smith here. Thank you for joining me for this episode of The Truth About Social Ads. I'm an agency owner specializing in Facebook and Instagram ads, and I have dedicated my professional life to helping you learn what others won't tell you about Facebook ads. You know, I believe there's so much information that no one is sharing about Facebook ads and how you can fail and win running ads for your business and when it's time to hire an agency. That's why I'm here bringing ideas and information that can help you run successful Facebook and Instagram ads. Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome to another episode of The Truth About Social Ads. We're super excited about today's episode. We've got Tanner Larsson on the show today, and we're super excited. Tanner, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Doing great. Excited to be here.
Awesome, thanks. Well, I'm going to do a little intro real quick about Tanner. Tanner's awesome. His group is awesome. We've been following them and been in their group for a few years now, and we'll get into a little more about exactly what they do. But Tanner Larsson is the CEO of Build, Grow, Scale, which specifically helps e-commerce businesses increase conversions on their Shopify stores. With over 400 million in online sales, Build, Grow, Scale has also a live event that we're actually going to pretty soon. It's in the next few weeks in Dallas, Texas. If you don't have tickets, we'll put a link in the show notes so you can grab tickets. But Tanner, thanks for being on again, and we're super excited to chat today.
Yeah, no, great to be here.
Tanner, is that accurate? Because I took that off your site.
Yeah, so we kind of stopped updating it after a while because
it's probably bigger is what I was thinking.
It's way bigger, but the other thing is in that number we didn't count any of like the marquees, like the Guthrie Rankers, that put us at like multiple all so we didn't count the big brands. But then we started adding it up, and it's just stupid at a certain point because like most stores can't fathom 100 million, much less 400 million, and it's combined revenue. It's not like in my pocket. I wish it was, but it's not, right? Yeah. So we just said, you know what? We're not going to do that anymore.
Yeah, but the whole point is you guys are obviously masters of what you do.
Yes.
As an agency, it's funny because as an agency, like we're like one of the only agencies in your group. I have no clue why, right?
Yeah.
But a few years ago, I'm like, man, what can we do to help our clients get better conversions on Shopify, right? And then I got introduced to you. We joined your group, and then I'm like, holy crap, like these guys definitely know what's up. It was just refreshing to see a group of people who have dedicated their time and energy at helping these entrepreneurs better their Shopify stores. So why don't you talk a little bit about your background, how you kind of got started with or became the CEO of BGS, how it all came to fruition, and step us through that. It'd be cool to hear it.
So, I mean, there was no like I was living on the streets or anything like that. Like I love to. I need to build that story. I gotta sleep on the streets one night just so I can say that I had to sleep on the streets or something. But
Tanner, let me add to that though, because when I was researching before the podcast, we always do a little research.
Yeah,
I was taking notes, and your entrepreneur article actually says like Tanner was kicked out of business school, and I was like writing all this down, and they were like, just kidding.
That was
the funny thing about that is. I actually was kicked out of the business school, but at UNR, but I got readmitted. I got kicked out because I punched the dean.
Sick.
Yes. You and Jason have a lot in common. You and I are going to be great friends, dude.
Yeah, it was not a good situation. I was just done with his bullshit and whatever. So went across his desk and punched him. So I did get kicked out, but then the full story of why I got mad at him came out. To avoid like any kind of political stuff or newsworthy stuff, they let me back in. But yeah, so story-wise, the first thing I guess I would tell you about my story is I'm not like a genius, guys. I'm a window cleaner. That's what I am. And my partner Matt, you guys know Matt. I mean, he's not a genius either. He's a concrete guy. Like we both come from blue collar backgrounds. Where Matt's a genius is he can do math in his head and I need a spreadsheet. Like that's the difference. everything we do is not rocket science. It's just diligent application and like mining data and really getting good at what you do. So, you know, you don't feel like if you're struggling with your store or whatever that you have to be a genius. Now, I'm not a guy who could ever run effective ads because I don't have that analytical brain to do that level of detail and figuring that kind of stuff out. Mine's a different type of tactic. But anyway, so that's where I came from. I came from the window cleaning background. I had a window cleaning business. I did really well with that. Then I started going blind in my left eye, and I had to have a cornea transplant. And when that happened, it was a 2-year healing process. And I had some smart people in my life at the time, and they're like, "Hey, your numbers look great. You can't run your business anymore, really. You got 60 employees, but you can't go outside or anything. So why don't you sell?" Luckily, I did, because I sold right before the economy tanked. And the first thing that went in that time was home services, right? So all my stuff was gone. But so the guy who bought it, unfortunately, wasn't a great deal for him, but it was a great deal for me because it got me out in time. And that was when I turned to the internet. And I'd been doing some ecom, eBay stuff during that time. I mean, I go back to 2001. My first ecom experience was in 2001. So I'm a dinosaur when it comes to like the ecom space right now. Awesome. So I've been continuing to do that forever. But once the window cleaning business was out of the way, I was full-time online. And that was where I basically realized that the internet's not magic, right? Like my business offline was a real business. So I had to treat it like a real business. I had to do all the things that made it work. And what helped me grow so well was direct response. I became a student of direct response. I came online and I'm like, oh, click money. That's all I have to do. And then I clicked and I clicked and I clicked and I clicked and I didn't make any money. And so I realized, oh crap, the internet's just another medium. Business is still business. You have to be a student. You have to be very diligent about it. You have to treat it like a real business. Now, the reason I'm in ecom is because I've sold info, I've done all kinds of stuff, but I love selling products that people actually want versus having to convince people to buy my 47-page ebook with a 57-page sales letter. You know? So anyway, that's kind of the early evolution. I was big into Amazon FBA for a long time, did millions and millions of dollars on Amazon. All the same time, I realized that as I was doing all this stuff, that the real money is in owning your customer, owning your list, and being able to build a real business.
So because with Amazon, you don't have any of that.
No,
like
Amazon,
once they click into
business,
Amazon,
that's a joke.
Yeah, it's done.
You have an income stream. You're a glorified affiliate on Amazon. You do not have an Amazon business because you don't own your customer. You don't own your data. You're legally not allowed to use your data. Not to say it's a bad way to make money, because I love the money that we make from it. Yeah. But it's one piece of a successful business. Now on the ecom side, people want it, and like ecom has been on this meteoric growth for the last 20 years, and then COVID just gave it an extra rocket ship boost. Yep. And we went from 12% of the people shopping online to about 30% shopping online, which is still a dismal number when you think about global population. So there's still massive opportunity and adoption to happen. The problem is, and what you guys are seeing, and with your clients and our clients and everything else, is the competition's there now. There's so much more competition. Yep. Buyers are getting savvier. So the whole concept of throwing up a half-assed store, drop shipping a few products, and running ads and making a fortune is not going to happen anymore.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, thanks for sharing that too. And I'm glad you brought up Amazon because, as a Facebook agency, people come to us and they're like, "Hey, can you run ads to Amazon?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, we can, but we don't want to."
Yeah. We can barely track it.
You can't. I mean, you got to run a clicks to website, campaign. You can't do any conversion campaigns because as soon as they land on Amazon, you've lost all tracking, the ability to track, So, and then people are like, well, we'll be able to tell once our Amazon numbers go up, we'll know it's from Facebook. I'm like, nah, it doesn't work that way. Like, you'll come back to us and you'll say, hey, why aren't our ads performing? And, and then we'll just tell you, we told you so.
Yeah.
That's what we do a lot,
Yep.
So yeah. And we have a client right now who spends about $400K a month on Facebook ads. And he's got a humongous Amazon store as well. And we're really lucky he's doing so well on Facebook because they just shut him down for no reason.
Oh, yeah.
He was shut down for like a month.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And so that's why you say you're like a glorified affiliate, because they can shut you down like whenever they want. Have you ever been shut down before?
Oh, I've actually, like, I'm part of a class action lawsuit because they actually stole my product and my actual, my CAD, I mean, I'm not the only one. I'm just one of a bunch that had that happen. I mean, you Google it, there's tons of it. But yeah, I've been shut down randomly. I've had listings shut down. I've had my entire product line literally stolen. They went out, and not just me, they went out and bought my manufacturer.
Jeez, no way.
Yeah. And not just to take me out of business, but because they wanted whatever else they had. But they found my manufacturer because they shut me down and said my products were fraudulent. I had to prove that they were legit. To prove they're legit, you have to send in invoices, all that stuff. And all of a sudden, the next week, I went to place another order, and they're like, "Sorry, we can't take you." And I'm like, "What do you mean? I'm your biggest customer."
That is dirty.
Yeah. You're like, no, we're not. Amazon is now.
Yeah. Amazon's dirty.
Right?
I mean,
wow.
They use FBA as competitor research to launch their own products. And I mean, if I own the business, I might do the same thing. Like, it's brilliant, but I would probably do it in a less sleazy, unethical way, you know?
Yeah. Wow.
But
crazy.
yeah, so the Amazon thing, I mean, I tell everybody, use it as an income stream, but don't bank out on it because, like you said, it can get shut down. But if you have a good Amazon business now and you think it's a business, why don't you start building out that Shopify or BigCommerce, whatever? Just build out your core ecom side. And I mean, there's a much bigger market available to you there, and profitability will go way up as well. So, balance both of those.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's kind of my 2 cents on Amazon.
Yeah, there's definitely some good insight in what you just said as we talk to people who sell on Amazon. I'll implement some of that into our sales and onboarding process.
I don't want people to think I'm down on Amazon, because we spend gazillions of dollars on Amazon just as Prime customers. Like, I still use them.
Yeah.
It was a shitty situation I went through, but all the brands we work with, all of our partner brands, we still use Amazon because they're the behemoth, and we can make money from it. So we might as well.
Yeah.
I just don't
you're a smart
put my eggs in that
entrepreneur.
basket anymore.
Yeah. And it's just another revenue stream that you have, right? That's pretty cool. Yeah. And we've been following you guys for a few years, been in your group for a few years, love the group. Shout out to Christina. She's freaking awesome.
Amazing,
we love Christina.
She? Yeah. She's awesome.
So tell us a little bit about when you realize that there's all these store owners out there who just need help, right? And how did you kind of realize that this was something that you guys were good at, and then you started helping people? Yep. Did it start from just building these huge stores? Like, because I know you've named some pretty big names there right when we jumped on, and I know you guys work with a ton of huge brands, but tell us a little bit about how it kind of evolved into helping entrepreneurs convert. And because that's the biggest thing, right? It's like you guys do conversion optimization for Shopify stores. That's what you guys do the best.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So, I mean, it didn't come out of an initial, from one area. I love to teach. That's like a passion area of mine. I love to educate and teach and share and be on stage and all that stuff. Like, I get a kick out of that. It's a big part of what I enjoy. Cool. But at the time, this was, back in 2014, 15, 16, I was building brands, building my own stores, doing really well with that, had Amazon going, all of that. Matt and I met through our mastermind. He bought into our mastermind because he wanted to get to know me. And that's how we met. And then in that mastermind, we were building a kitchen brand with some other partners. And Matt came on board in that as well. And we started building that brand. And it was the guys had built these kitchen products, drop shipping it, and proven that, like, holy crap, we can scale this thing. But I'm like, no, you can't scale it without a real business. We got to inventory, we got to do it right. So it started working out. And then when the inventory was time to ship and the big check was due, they quit. The guys,
no way.
So and they left me hanging. So I had to pay for it all myself. And Matt was on board at the time, and he was going through a big legal hassle, so he wasn't liquid at the time. So, but he's like, dude, I'm here to help. So he came to Reno. We partnered up on it, and we turned the store around and started making it really work really well. Matt was really good at ads, and I was good at the stores, the funnels, the optimization kind of stuff. Not optimization like we do now, but the basic direct response type stuff that we've always done. And we did well. We went from a few, like tens of sales a day to thousands of sales a day, to the point where we would have 40-foot containers come in one day. We'd unload it and we'd ship out everything the same day. And we were turning over product, just insane. It was amazing. And then Facebook changed. I don't know if that's ever happened to anybody before, but like Facebook made a change.
Once a month.
And all of a sudden we went from thousands of sales a day to like hundreds, and then to tens, and then to like 5 or 6. And nothing we were doing with ads was changing. So we kept throwing more apps on the store, more this, more that. Now, the problem was, sales go down, but our infrastructure to support the thousands a day was still there. Like I had 5 units of inventory in production at all times, on the water, in shipment, in production, in inventory. So we're turning over $200,000 worth of inventory, like costs per month, whether we were selling or not. So,
for sure.
We're like, oh God, we got to figure this out. And it got real scary for a while. I mean, we had about an 8-month period there where nothing we did worked. We kept trying to get lower CPAs, cheaper CPMs. That was and wasn't working. And then we finally, and I mean, Matt finally he's like, man, wonder what is going on in this store? Maybe there's something wrong with the store. And because we had all the direct response stuff smart, but we're like, okay, so Matt paid this guy on Upwork to show us some data, Google Analytics, very basic stuff. And it was like, oh man, 58% of our traffic is iOS. And for some reason, iOS converts at 0.6%. Our average conversion is 3%. What if we could just get those iOS users to convert at the average? And we figured it out. It was just a display issue on an iOS browser. And so we fixed that, and it was like, boom, all of a sudden sales came up. And then, oh wait, there's different browser segments. So people not everybody's on the most updated version of Chrome, and different versions display the website different ways. Little things like that. And all of a sudden we started seeing these massive wins. And we're like, that was our epiphany that, hey, the problem's not the ads. The problem's what happens after the click when they land on the store. And that was when we started really paying attention to the data. And we got that was when we said, like, you know what, ads are important, but the real magic's here. So we started really dialing that in. And all of a sudden that store took off again. And we got pretty good at it at a what I would consider a kindergarten level from where we are today. But back then we thought we were rock stars, right? We thought, man, we figured out, we cracked the code. So then friends of ours we were talking with were like, hey, how'd you guys do this? What's going on? And we're like, oh, well, we started doing this. Like, can you help us? So the first one we did was our friend Drew Canoli, who owns Organifi, and they're primarily a funnel business, but they have a store as well. And their store was just kind of like remnant traffic, type-in traffic, and it was doing about $2 million a year. And in 90 days, we took them from a $2 million run rate to an $8.7 million run rate in 90 days, just doing the basic data optimization stuff. And from there, it just kind of kept snowballing to people asking us. And then we would be at masterminds and we would be teaching on it. Like we were supposed to be guests at the mastermind. And then people were like, no, get up here and teach what you're doing. And so from there, I started teaching it again. We did a course, and then it turned into a mentoring accelerator program. And then as that kind of happened, more and more people kept coming to us for like almost like a client work stuff. And we started taking like a piece of the growth and everything. And so we said, hey, this is what we're really good at. It's what we're passionate at. We've gotten this a couple books, but The One Thing is one of the big books that really changed our life. That's Gary Keller. Basically the one thing that creates extraordinary results, and it's usually something simple, right? So the premise is what's the one thing that you can do such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary. And in our world, we realized that the more we did optimization, the more we focused on just that, everything else fell into place. We didn't have to be good at ads. We didn't have to be this. We didn't have to be masters of all these different things. I mean, you have to have fundamentals and be good, and know what you're doing, but you don't have to be this rock star at every other aspect of the business because you've solved the one thing that really moves the needle. So what we did was we decided to cut away all that stuff. We quit running ads, like for ourselves. We would have people like you guys who are actually good at it, and that's what they do. And then we quit doing our own fulfillment. We built a fulfillment company, and we shut that down, got rid of all of our clients because we're like, hey, we're not fulfillment guys. We're optimization guys. So little by little, it rolled into, we just decided to build up this core focus. And over the years, it's grown into a team of 73 people, including, developers, Google Analytics engineers, optimization experts, all trained internally through our own internship program because we can't hire for what we do. And so now we have, 3,000 some odd hours a week of nothing but split testing, optimization, data analytics across all these stores. And it's given us this ridiculous library of what works and what doesn't, and data results and testing results and all of that.
Yeah.
And so that's what we decided to do. We decided, hey, we're going to focus on that. And then the big high level side is we have our clients, just like agency clients, where we actually partner with them and plug in and become the optimization arm of their business and help them scale. And then, but from that, we can only help so many people there. And that was when I rewrote the new version of my book. And then from there, we decided to create our program that you guys are in, the Ecom Insider program, and really evolve that into a basic, I wouldn't even call it coaching. I would say it's more business accelerator, community, like everything we're doing here that we learn, we just share with everybody in the group, and then, give them that ability to utilize the same stuff.
Yeah. And let me add in there for anybody listening, and Tanner, it's still like, even really high level stores a lot of times don't have an understanding, for any business owners listening, of what a CRO specific agency is. And I want to share a quick story based off what you just said of a mic drop moment. Someone came to one of our Google Ads partners and was like, oh, I found this agency that does everything. And he's like, no, they don't. They're not the best at it then, because you can't be the best at everything. So that kind of plays in to the one thing. And to add to what you said, I just want to, for anybody that doesn't know the difference between, paid traffic and CRO, or conversion rate optimization, once that click happens and you go to Shopify, what, Build, Grow, Scale, what Tanner and Matt do, they're experts at. They're the best at that. So we make sure the traffic is the best. They make sure that the Shopify store is converting the best. And it's, a lot of times people come to us, Tanner, and they're like, guys, why aren't you making my Shopify store convert better? And we're like, talk to Tanner, talk to Matt, right?
Yeah.
So it's a very important understanding for people to have. They set up a site with an awesome product and it just magically works at first. And then they go big and they're like, oh shit, it doesn't work
anymore. At scale, you have to cast a wider and wider net at scale to acquire traffic. So it's less and less perfectly targeted. So of course everything suffers. But I can give you a quick analogy that will help to kind of tie this in for people based on like the ads to the other side of it. So first of all, one way to look at it is the ad. Okay. You run the ad, you got to get one click. Okay. One click. The click happens and they land on your website. From the time they land on your website, there's 6 or more clicks that have to happen in order to make the sale. From a percentage standpoint, it makes more sense to focus on the 6 than it does the 1, because you need all of those 6 to fire to get that to happen. So, but the 1 click has to be a profitable, affordable click, which is where the magic comes in on what you guys do. On our side, the way we look at it is pretend your Shopify store or your ecom business is a bucket, right? The water going into the bucket is the traffic. Water that stays in the bucket is the sales. However, in a perfect world, you just pour traffic in and boom, the bucket fills and you're rich. The problem is your bucket is more like a strainer than it is a bucket. It's got holes all over it. And all that money, or all that water that's leaking out is lost sales, lost opportunity, and wasted money. And that is every store. Now, in a perfect world, we'd patch the bucket 100%. We can't do that. What we can do is we can patch the biggest holes and a lot of the smaller holes and minimize the amount that's leaking out, so that as the traffic's coming in, less it leaks out and it fills, right? You're basically at a better ratio. That's what optimization does. Now, in the real world, if I told you, hey, here's 2 swimming pools, here's a 5-gallon bucket, one pool's full, the other pool's empty, you have to fill that pool up with this bucket, you can't spill any water, and you don't get any more water, you got to make sure that the level stays the same, and I give you a 5-gallon bucket full of holes. Are you going to dump that bucket in the water and walk across, leaking across, and dump it in the pool? No. You're going to go find the duct tape. But in online business, we don't do that. We're like, whatever. We'll just pour more traffic. We'll just turn up the traffic. We'll just yell at our agency and say, hey, you guys suck. We're firing you. We're going to hire the next agency, then tell them they suck. Then we're going to hire the next agency. It's stupid, but it's what people do in e-commerce.
And that is the most frustrating part. One of the most frustrating things for us is when we're just making it rain. We're just pouring water and it's, click-through rates at 3%. We're all happy and they're like, it's not working. We're like, that's your Shopify store.
But that's not what store owners do. You guys have, our job, I would say because we have an agency as well, right? So Ours is optimization. The hard part for us is getting clients. The hard part for you guys is making the clients realize that you're not a magician who can solve every problem in their business, right? Yeah. Everybody wants to hire an ad agency. Nobody wants to hire an optimization agency. When we get clients, it's funny. Like we have the same concept, same clients, but the like when they look at us, they're like, "Oh my God, it's great." Once they come on board, getting them on board is ridiculous. You guys can attract them like crazy, but getting them to realize that, hey, you have to have a business, not just a traffic strategy is like the hard part.
Totally. Yeah. That was super insightful. So let's talk real quick, Tanner, about just so you're speaking the language of any store owners that are listening, touch on some common pain points. Like one that I've learned from you guys, and there's a ton I've learned from you guys, is if you're selling a product, let's say for $60 and your average order value is $65, you need to probably focus on bundles. So what are the most common pain points you see for Shopify store owners and how you guys can help with those?
Got it. So there's a ton, but
literally a ton.
Yeah, literally. Yep. I mean, it's insane. Hundreds and hundreds of different things that, so one thing on that patching the bucket thing, the idea is that the same way a river is made by many different trickles make a river, it's the same way that optimization, many small optimizations equal massive wins in your business. Any one by itself may be huge, but it may not be massive. But when the trickle down effect is big. So like what you just said, the big thing about ecom stores is that they're front end focused, right? They're trying to extract their acquisition costs, their cost of goods, and their profit and their operating expenses from that initial sale. Now that used to be possible. It's not possible anymore. Real businesses know that profit's made at the second and third sale and beyond, not the first sale. First sale is designed to break even, potentially slight loss to scale the business at scale, right? And that what you just mentioned about average order value is $60 and like lifetime customer value is $65. That means you don't have a back end of your business. You are a front end focused business. LTV at a minimum should be 4x. In most cases, there's some outliers, should be 4x what your AOV is. So that's one of the big things. Another one, just a simple one, is bounce rate. Bounce rate, for example, you guys send 1,000, 3% click-through rate and 1,000 people come visit to the site and it's just the best cost ever, most targeted traffic. And the site has a 90% bounce rate, which is pretty average for Shopify stores. 85 to 90% is pretty normal. Well, that means that out of the 1,000 people you sent them, only 100 people stuck around to actually consider the offer. So they didn't get 1,000 people to their website or to their offer. They got 100. Yep. Now, the other thing is if you said it, it's 50 cents a click. So it costs $500 to get that 1,000 people, right? Pretty simple. However, only 100 actually saw the website. So your actual cost per visitor who viewed your product is $5.
Right.
So people don't think about bounce rate, but a simple 10% reduction in bounce rate, going from 90% to 80%, doubles the amount of people on your site. So you cut your actual visitor cost from $5 to $2.50. So if you can, and you can get your bounce rate down to in the 30s. You can't go if you have a 0% bounce rate, your data's wrong. If you're below 30%, it's not realistic.
Something's not tracking.
Those are simple ones, but the other ones are, people like, oh, my conversion sucks. Well, yeah, but why does your conversion suck? Is it the actual checkout page, or is it your cart, or is it that you're getting a low add to cart rate on your product page? There's so many other metrics that trickle into that, and that's what we see. We have people have terrible. This is probably the biggest one: terrible product pages. You as the store owner, you know your product, so you don't think that people need more information. So you have this very generic, ridiculous product description and mediocre images, and you think that's enough for the customer to buy. But it's not. Just like when you go to Amazon and you see a product you like in the search results, you click on it, you scroll down to product description and there's no info. And you go, I'm going to find another one. You immediately do that.
Right. Yeah.
But you expect people to be different on your store.
Yep.
So it's
and another one I've noticed too.
Crazy things.
What about load time, Tanner?
Load time is huge. So
big one, right?
Massive. Your site has to load under 3 seconds. The crazy thing is people go, of course it does. Yeah, on your site where everything's cached, but on a on the public side, so like our first Shopify store, not first, but our first big one, our kitchen store. I remember this conversation, and Matt tells the story all the time, but we have a actual smart friend of ours named Charlie, who was a web developer and like knew the code and all that kind of stuff. And we were talking to him and he's like, dude, your guys' site loads so slow. And we're like, no, it doesn't. He's like, and Matt's like, dude, look, watch, loads it on his computer and it loads like that. And he's like, look how fast it is. And Charlie's like, you guys are idiots. He's like, do you know what caching is? And we're like, I've heard of it, you know, but our actual site load time was 16 seconds.
Wow. Yeah.
Whoa.
So yeah, I mean, we had a 700% increase in profitability when we got our site from 16 seconds down to 3 seconds. And it didn't take a lot, optimizing some images, fixing, removing old apps, just little things, right?
Yeah, for sure. That's crazy. And, you know, I just want to go back for a second because you mentioned Organifi and Drew and stuff. Well, I was actually with the agency. I was running Drew's ads. I was the one running his ads, right? And when I went into the agency, when I came in, I was really e-commerce focused. I've always loved e-commerce. I'm like, dude, you guys are running his store. It's not even a store. It's like this crazy funnel people have to go through. Why not this is an e-commerce product? You know, let's go to Shopify. And then I had like several conversations with Drew and I'm like, dude, we got to go to Shopify. And he's like, what the hell is Shopify? And we explained it to him. And then after you guys optimized his site, I mean, it was like, dude, we were like, you know, magicians, you know what I mean? And we weren't being blamed for all the, you know, I mean, they were spending a lot of money on ads. Ads were going okay. But once they switched to Shopify and got it optimized, total game changer. And as the agency running his stuff, like, I mean, it was a total game changer. It was pretty funny.
And I actually want to touch on that because, so guys, yes, we're a store optimization company. Like that's what whether it's BigCommerce, Shopify, whatever. I am a diehard funnel guy. Like that's what I grew up doing. Yeah. Like funnels are my game. That's what I love. I just love funnels. Now, I'm not saying, and I know these guys aren't saying either, that funnels, it's funnels or store. I believe it's actually a hybrid. I believe that funnels are amazing for acquisition of new customers. Funnels are terrible for repeat and lifetime value. Because once a customer goes, they don't want to go through a funnel again. They've already bought the product. They just want to reorder it or they want to see what else you have. So I think it's a combination of both. Now, the magic is that funnels have typically always outperformed stores. What we have been able to do with Build, Grow, Scale in the last 5 years is we have been able to make a store convert as well, if not better, than a funnel in most cases. So, and there's a lot of products that don't lend themselves to funnels, actually more products that don't lend themselves to funnels than do, like apparel. Right. It's very hard to sell apparel or women's clothing or shoes through a sales funnel. Right. Yeah. Right. Or if you have a gazillion SKUs like an electronics store or something like that. So it's a hybrid model. So don't think one or the other and you're like, oh, I have a funnel, this won't help me. Well, funnel optimization is just as detailed and just as important as store optimization. But if you're an e-com store, if your store is not converting, the knee-jerk reaction should not be to go build a funnel. The knee-jerk reaction should be, which is never the knee-jerk, you need to actually think it through, is that you should go look at it and say, what is wrong with my on-site buyer's journey? What happens from the time the click lands on the site to the time the click leaves the site? And that's everything from page optimization to the right apps that you're using to the email sequences and the abandonment and the cart abandonment retargeting, all that stuff falls under the on-site buyer's journey and the optimization aspect of it. But the thing is, you can't just do one thing. You have to do all of it. And every little bit you do, though, if you guys optimize your site, these guys can rock your world. You will literally be like giving them your firstborn kid because you're so excited about the performance they're generating for you. Because they can't they can only control what's in their ecosphere. They're experts at ads. The next side, it's not just you guys; it's every ad agency. Who whether now there's good ad agencies and bad ad agencies, of course.
Yes, there is.
Put into bad of everything, but you guys I know are good at what you do, but you're held to a higher standard than you should be because you can't be the magician that fixes their business or the supply chain problems. Like you're not a supply chain expert. Why should you be asked or held accountable for that causing the ads to suck?
Yeah. And actually that's one of when I'm on a call with somebody, when they come to us and say, hey, can you look at our ads? Usually I do an audit. One of my first questions is how's your supply chain? Inventory? How long does it take you to get new products? Because I guarantee you, if we come on and if your Shopify store is optimized and if we come on, we're going to kill it, and you're not going to be able to keep up. Oh no, I'll be fine. Well, what is it? Well, why are you asking me? You're a Facebook agency. Yeah, but I need to know because
we have the same questions.
When you come to us and say, oh, we got to scale back from spending $300K a month to $10K a month because we don't have any inventory, it's like, okay, we need to know all that stuff.
Yep.
You know,
because that's going to affect
everything.
And
one of our big things that I asked is, you know, have you had anybody optimize your Shopify store? Well, but you're a Facebook agency. Yeah, but you got to understand these go hand in hand, right? Like our ads are not going to perform well. Well, I take that back. Our ads will perform well. It's just they're not going to convert on the back end. And it's not going to translate. And I always tell business owners, you're going to blame us. Oh, we wouldn't do that. Yeah, you will. You know,
I mean, those questions that you're asking, you're actually doing. Like, people get indignant that you're asking the question, but you're actually doing them a service. And most agencies don't. They're just like, oh, all they want is the retainer, right?
Yes.
They want that 5K or 10K or whatever it is, and they don't care. But the supply chain is a huge thing. So another one of our Amplified partner stores, that's what our agency is, Amplified. They were at 300K when we started working with them. It's a drunk party store, apparel and print on demand. So they basically like
no way.
Yeah, so it's a great store. It'd be awesome. It's called Piper Lou. They're awesome, but they were at 300K a month. We took them to 2 million a month, and that it took about I think it took them about 9 months to get there. The only reason it took that long was we broke their supply chain 4 times.
Yep. Yeah.
And every time we had to start over with ads and start over because now and then once their supply chain finally got fixed, which every time they thought it was and it wasn't. Then now, boom, they're scaling like crazy because they've got their pieces fixed. But so asking that question, we asked the same thing. We're like, dude, we're going to break your supply chain.
Yeah.
We're like, you don't know anything. Okay, well, we'll see.
Well,
but then, once we break their supply chain, or once you guys break their supply chain, it screws everything for them. Their ads stop performing because now you're scaling budgets down and having to start over through the learning period. And so,
and customers get pissed, and then we're like, oh, let's install that Shopify app where they can just like keep ordering, and then we'll send it to them when they get in. But then people end up getting pissed off, and then
you're towing the line because pre-ordering is a gray area from a legality standpoint in a lot of states.
Yeah. So right. Yeah, and we actually had somebody that we scaled up really quickly came to us, scaled up, got on a jam session, made all the changes from what you guys suggested we make on their store. Ended up going up again. Then he ran out of inventory, and because COVID was at its height, couldn't get it. So then he's like, well, I really need to keep making money. Okay, well, let's do the pre-order thing. And then it just totally fell from underneath him because there's too many pre-orders, and it just ended up being super bad.
Your credit card processors do not like pre-orders without fulfillment. Like they do, because the liability is huge when you have taken money and haven't delivered. And there's so much fraud in that area as well that even if you're legit, their reaction is just like, nope, you're done.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. But I one thing I do want to touch on and make it clear is we're a Facebook agency, right? We run world-class Facebook ads, do a great job, all that stuff. But your Shopify store has to work in conjunction with your ads. It's not. It's 2 separate pieces, but it's got to work as one, because we've had it where people will totally blame us for, conversions, right? Like, hey, why isn't my site converting? Well, hell, I don't know. Go to Tanner's team and ask them, you know what I mean? But it's funny because like you said, we'll tell somebody, hey, go to Tanner's group. We'll refer you over there. We'll have them look at your site, and then they'll let you know how much it's going to cost to fix everything, right? Or to make everything work correctly. And then it's funny because some of the bigger stores that are doing that, they're spending $500K a month, and they go to you guys and like, oh man, that's really expensive. And I'm like, you understand that if they work on your site, and in a week it could pay for their service in a week of sales, right? Like, or a couple days of sales. If your site starts working that well, we continue to run great ads to it, and then your site's converting, you could make up for that in a couple days. But
easily.
What is it, Tanner? Like, what's the mental block that these business owners like, well, I don't want to pay 10 grand for that?
Yeah. So
you're like,
it's something we come into contact with it all the time. We have guys come to us, and we have, like you just said, we have people that are spending $10, $20, $100,000 a month that'll come to us, and they're losing money every month.
Right.
And they're like, we had actually just had one. They're doing $100,000 a month in ads, and they used to do a lot more, but they're doing $100,000 right now, and they're negative about $20,000 a month that they're burning, right? And they come to us, and we're like, guys, your store is garbage. Like, and we basically walked through it and said, hey, you have great products, but like, look here. And we did basically an audit, and we show them all the areas that are leaking. And we're like, if we could just fix this one thing, that would probably double your conversion. If we could fix all of it, your AOV would be up, like all this stuff. And I think the price tag on that one, it was a little higher. I think it was in about $30,000 or so for that store. And then they're also not using data, because none of these ad companies ecom stores actually use Google Analytics. They turn it on by pasting it into their box, but they don't actually use the data because they don't have it set up right. So they didn't have that either.
They don't know how to read the data, right?
Yeah. So this company's losing $20,000 a month, spending $100,000 in ads, losing $20,000 a month. We can fix a huge chunk of their problems for one payment of 30. And we actually said we would stack the team for them because it was a big problem. We're like, we'll fix it fast. And they're like, nope, can't afford it. I'm like, okay, guys, let me just reframe this for you. Why don't you should slow your ads down right now, because you're stupid until you're profitable. Scale the ads back down, and to a point where you're either at a break even or you're not losing money. Even turn your ads off,
right?
Or pause them. Let us fix it, because our thing is once you're losing money, stop. Don't spend any more money until you fix the problem. Right. Because you can't outspend loss, right? I've tried it. You just go broke. Like, it doesn't work.
Right. Yep.
But it is a mental block.
Sure.
People are always, and I think the reason is the hype in the market. And it's not it's that the gurus and all the different people out there, they're ads are sexy. Traffic is sexy. It's instant money. I turn on ads, I make money. People are willing to spend money on instant gratification, push button type stuff. Other things that require work, and not just optimization, actually writing good product descriptions, taking product photography, not selling crappy products, like, not trend hopping. Those things all require work to not do those things. And I think that's it. I think that's why a lot of my friends have warehouses full of fidget spinners that they can't sell, because they all hopped on trends instead of just selling and staying in their lane and doing what they're good at.
Yeah, no, I like what you said, because it's same thing on our side. Well, why does it take you guys like 7 to 10 days to get ads up? Do you want shitty ads, or do you want some damn good ads that are like, people aren't just going to scroll by? It's the same concept with your store. And I don't know about you, but I'm so tired of those gurus online that are like, hey, pay me $1,000 and I'll show you how to build an awesome Shopify store.
Oh yeah. Or we'll build you a revenue producing store for $3,000. Yeah. There's guys, I'm not even going to name them because I want to, but I'm just not going to be that kind of a dick. But they're like, they're running massive ads, and they're extracting a ton of money out of the market selling these people. And a lot of these stores, they buy these stores, and a lot of them wind up joining our program. Yeah, and it's right. We literally go through it like, guys, this is you got ripped off.
You got railed, right? Yeah. So same with Facebook ads.
Now
it's over. Like, hey, right. It's like, hey, pay me $1,000 and I'll show you how to run high quality Facebook ad. Man, that is such bullshit. I hate that stuff, because then when they get to us and they come to us and they're like, well, what do you mean you guys charge $10,000 a month?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, but the other guy was only charging me like $3,000. Yeah, but they sucked and they ruined your business, Like, I'm sorry, So
I mean, I'll say it because coming from, I am not an ad agency. I hire ad agencies.
Right.
You are going to pay for a good agency.
Yeah.
Just like you are going to pay for a good optimization company or a good consultant or good things cost money. If it's cheap, chances are there's a reason it's cheap, because they can't keep clients and can't command a higher price. Now, there are agencies that are high priced that are not worth it at all.
No, you're right. There's a lot of those too.
You can't take it just on price.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. And you got to ask the right questions. And we have a podcast episode about that. You got to ask the right questions when you're interviewing an
Definitely
agency.
Listen to that episode, because that's a talent to be able to figure out the right place to spend your money. And most store owners, to help you guys if you're going to hire these guys or anybody as an agency, it's like hiring and learning how to do interviews and everything else. That is a skill. Yep. Knowing how to hire the right contractors or agencies and things like that, and how to kind of separate the wheat from the chaff, that's another skill.
Yeah.
So, you know, if they have an episode exactly talking through that, you guys need to know that before you pull the trigger.
Yeah.
And the questions that he's asking, what's your supply chain like? What's your optimal, like all these other things that would piss you off because you're like, why are you digging into my business? That is indicating that he's like, hey, I want to make sure that we can actually help you.
Yeah. And it's like, hey, why do I ask business owners like, hey, how much revenue did you do last year or year to date? Well, why are you asking me that? Because I need to know, dude, you know, like who we're dealing with here. What are your margins? Well, yeah, but you're not like I need to know what ROAS we need to be at to make sure you're profitable. So if your margins are 20%, I'm probably going to tell you, no, we're not going to work with you because we got no room to work, right? We have no room to scale. So there's a lot of questions that I ask.
If you don't know your margins, which we come into contact, so many stores don't know their numbers at all.
Totally.
They operate on, we had this much come in and this much go out. And I'm like, oh my God. Like,
yeah. Hey, Tanner, I have a question on that note. We've gotten pretty good. Obviously we're not experts like you guys on, looking at when people need help on the back end of Shopify. We have access to all of our Shopify customers, data, but the returning customer rate, can you shed some light on that? And when people need help? And the reason I ask is right now with iOS, we've conquered it with our tracking software. We're doing awesome. But on the back end, now business owners are looking at media efficiency versus ROAS, because some agencies nowadays are just like, we can't tell you ROAS. It's impossible. Well, we can because, of our reporting software. Yep. But with returning customer rate, how do you know, like when people like average order value, I get it. I can look at that and be like, you need help. It's 60 and 65, you need help. How do we know with returning customer rate, or are there any guidelines you could pass along?
So returning customer rate, just like AOV, is very impacted by what's being sold, right? Like a mattress company is going to have a higher AOV, but a very low returning customer rate compared to a supplement that has a lower AOV and a higher repeating rate because it's a 30-day consumable, right? So you got to take those kind of things into consideration. But beyond that, a super high returning customer rate is actually worse than a low returning customer rate. And I say that tongue in cheek because a super high returning customer rate, like 70, 80%, 90%, is like, oh man, look, our people love us. Yeah. But the problem, and the reason it's so high, is because you're not diluting that rate with new customers coming in. You're not acquiring enough new customers. We have a lady, you guys have probably seen her on a jam session. She's awesome. She owns an amazing plus size store. When she came to us, she was doing a couple $1 million a year, and she had a 87 year wide average, 87% repeat customer rate. And she's like, my customers love me. And it's an apparel, plus size apparel. Like, yes, they do. And she's like, I'm making millions. Like, oh, yes, you are. Do you want to know how much money you're leaving on the table? Because I'd like to see your returning customer rate at 30%.
Right.
And she's like, what does that mean? I'm like, you're not running enough ads. And like, she's like, my margins are this and all. I'm like, yeah, you're at 4 million now. You could have been at 20 million this year.
Dang.
That's at the same profitability.
Right.
But so high repeat customer, yes, it's good. Now during this iOS fiasco, repeat customer rate is even more. So a lot of our companies are, balancing their ads out with more internal promos, trying to pull more repeat customers and a little bit less on the acquisition side. So that number may be a little bit higher. But if your repeat customer rate for the average store is in the teens or below, you're screwing up. Like that also tells me you don't have a good LTV, right? Yeah. So I would say, like, I like to see 25, 30% at least in a store. I start to get nervous when I start seeing them too much higher than that, unless it's like a huge subscription company. If they have a lot of subscription, then that obviously floats the level differently. But The average companies don't have massive MMR. So it's more of a 25 to 30% range, assuming that you're getting traffic. Now, if you're not getting traffic and new customers, then that rate should be way higher. So you kind of look at it in both ways. No acquisition, super high repeat customer rate should be the case. Good acquisition, then we should have that kind of balancing itself out.
Interesting. Yeah, because I know a lot of, I mean, our clients, a lot of people get hung up on repeat customers, kind of like top of funnel. It's like, and then they're like, well, why aren't our retargeting ads not working? Well, you're only spending $20 a day on top of funnel. Yep. It's like, come on, dude,
you got to build those audiences.
Yeah, you got to feed the retargeting audiences. You can't just stay stagnant forever. So that's awesome. All right, cool. I know we've been going for a while, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, already been 50 minutes. It's crazy.
It's been great. The one thing I want to
talk about the event.
Okay,
I want to make sure we talk about the event.
Let's talk about that. I wanted to say one thing about you guys specifically, and I'm not tooting your horn or anything like that, but I know a lot of ad agencies, like, because from the optimization thing, a lot of people refer people to us when they're smart. They refer people to us because then that makes their job easier. But I've talked with a lot of them, and I've hired a lot of them. Mm-hmm. You guys mentioned it kind of a little bit at the beginning, but I want to point out how rare it is. You guys are I think you're probably one of maybe 3 agencies that have joined our Ecom Insider program. Now, to clarify this for other people, our Ecom Insider program is really built for the store owner to help them optimize and dial in their store and have access to our resources without having to pay us a percentage of your revenue, right? So it's like a community and a business accelerator program. And there's 500 to 600 stores in there at any given time. Now, these guys don't own a store. They own an agency where they work with stores, and they come into Ecom Insider and they pay the same rate as everybody else. And what's their benefit of it? The benefit is that they come on our jam sessions, they bring a client store and do the work that the client should be doing, basically. So they're coming to our thing and saying, hey guys, here's what we're running in ads. Here's how it's performing. Here's what's not working. Okay, so we'll go in there and we'll audit this store for them. Then they take what we give them, the information back, and then they deliver it to the client saying, hey guys, fix these things. Now, I'm just going to say, they shouldn't have to do that. I've never seen another agency do that. They're doing your work for them. But that's what separates these guys and their like client level participation, because they're spending their own money and they're jumping in there and they're spending their time, which takes a lot of time. And then they're getting your info on your store to help their clients. So again, guys, I had never seen another agency do that. We were talking about that before the call. And that's a major prop to what you guys do, because it shows that you actually care and want to get results for your clients. And it's not just about your retainer or your percentage of ad spend or anything like that. So major props to you guys for doing that. And that's also why you get your customers results, because you actually take that extra step.
Yeah, well, we appreciate it. And actually, it's funny because I read your book, Ecommerce Evolved, like a few years ago. And it was funny. I had talked to Eric about it. I don't know, Eric, if you remember this, but I'm like, dude, we need to do something about these stores. Like, they're horrible. They're not converting. And then I read your book and I'm like, shoot, some of this stuff I can do myself. But then we joined the group and it's just was on a whole another level. And, it does take us a lot of time, like coming on the jam session and then writing up a whole report on what they need to do. And most of the time we just refer them out to you guys because they can't do it either. And we have the done for you services that are separate from the agency, so people can actually take us up on that if they don't want to do it themselves. But the thing is like, again, I don't know another ad agency besides, the guys that are in the group. There's like 3 of them that are doing that. And you guys set the stage for it. So they saw you guys doing it and they're like, oh man, we should do that for our customers, right? But realistically, the customer, your client should be doing it for themselves if they care about their business. It's because nobody's going to care about their business more than themselves, hopefully. For sure. And props to you guys as well. I mean, you didn't have to let us in the group. I mean, you're like, hey, what the hell is it? Why does an agency?
Yeah, it was a little like, I was like, at first, I'm not going to lie. Like, I was like, do I want an agency in here?
I thought the same thing though.
Yeah, and I'm like,
got in there.
Okay, you're the guinea pigs. Let's try it. Yeah, and it's been great. It's been great, and not a single problem. But I definitely did have that initial I don't know.
Like, what the hell are these guys doing? What's the backdoor reason why they want to get in here? What are they trying
to figure out here?
Yeah, and really, and honestly, it was just like I was trying to figure out a solution for our clients and just have be a little more sticky with our clients, right? Because if we can help clients with Facebook ads, and then we can refer them out to a program like yours where they can better their conversion rate on their Shopify store, and make us look better in the process, make you guys look great, then it's a win-win for all of us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Eric,
let's talk about the event coming up.
Yeah, you brought up the event. So if you're listening to this and you're in the ecom space, so here's the thing. If you're in the ecom space, you've had a rough year. Okay. Nobody has not had a rough year in ecom this year. It's the first time in almost 20 years that e-commerce has taken a hit. We've got supply chain issues. We've got iOS issues. And there is a mess out there right now. And everybody, it was the worst Black Friday for almost every single store out there. We have clients that didn't even do Black Friday because they couldn't get product, right? They're like, why would we discount if we don't have enough product to sell? So it's been a rough year. And I'm going to tell you guys, it's probably not going to get better for a few more months. We have to figure our way through this and evolve. All right. Mm-hmm. Now, our event is normally a traditional ecom conference. It's actually the biggest ecom conference in North America. So it's a big group. But this year, it's different because it's the first time anybody's been able to have a real conference in 2 years. It's the first ecom conference since COVID started. And a lot has changed. And what we've basically turned this event into is the meeting ground for all the best, the brightest, the smartest in ads and optimization and supply chain, everything. They're all coming to BGS Live because we're all suffering. And it's like, hey, the only way we can get through this quickly and profitably and help everybody is if we do use the collective genius of all the smart people in the room. And that's what BGS Live is about this year. So, and I'm not going to pitch you on how awesome the event is and all that stuff, because it is great. You can go check out the event page and see that. But that is the reason, if you have an ecom business and you felt the pain of this year, you want that pain to go away. It's not going to happen on your own. I promise you. And I'm not saying that just to get you to come to the event. I'm saying that because if you want success and you want to make 2022 better than 2021, because we all do, trust me, you need to be in that room. Eric and Jason, they're going to be there. They're sponsoring the event, right? They're going to be there. They're going to be in the room. They're going to be some of the people that will all be collaborating through the different mastermind sessions. We have tons of other, media buyers, supply chain, fulfillment, ad optimization, CRO, all these guys are all coming, including our entire staff and our development team will all be there to help everybody. And we've got presentations and stuff that will show you and teach you what is working, what's changed, how to adapt, all of those things. And the other thing we've done, the event is in Dallas. We moved it from Reno to Dallas because everybody can get to Dallas easy, no matter where you are in the world. If you're in the US, it's a 2.5 hour flight from anywhere. Flights are cheap. It's a hub, great hotel near the airport. So it's not going to be super expensive. We've kept costs down for everybody. We also normally right now, the event tickets would be $797. We have kept our early bird pricing, which was supposed to end back in November. We kept it. We're going to keep it all the way through for everybody. So it's not going to cost you a fortune to attend this event. Now, does that suck for me? Yeah, it kind of does because we don't collect as much revenue. But my goal is to get people there because the event's not to make me money. The event is to build the community and get the people together. It's my chance. Like I said, I like to be on stage. So I get to be on stage, right? I get to talk and share and teach and show you guys what's going on. So highly
just
recommend.
To clarify, Tanner, anybody doesn't matter how much revenue your store is doing, you can go, right?
Yeah. Yeah. This is not, so historically, our revenue breakdown, we have a super disproportionate level of high level stores, 8 and 9 figure owners in there, which is crazy because they're hobnobbing and rubbing shoulders with 6-figure stores, 7-figure stores, startups and everything else. And it's a very open, you should just go watch some of the videos on the page where the people are talking about the event. You're seeing a mix of 9-figure store owners, sitting right next to someone who's a startup, and they're literally opening the doors and saying, hey, this is what you do here, how to do this. So we encourage that open door policy, and it's very much we believe a rising tide raises all ships. So we kind of foster that in there. So no matter where you're at, if you're just starting out, I actually talked to a guy yesterday who emailed support, and I got on the phone with him because he had a really good question. He's transitioning from a wholesale business into ecom, and he wants to kind of get into it, but he's not sure. And he's like, I don't have started basically. And I'm like, should I come? And I said, well, let's ask some questions. So I said, if you're serious about building an ecom business and you haven't started yet, there would be a lot of stuff at this event you won't be able to use right away. However, you're going to get the state of the industry and you're going to know exactly what to expect and what's happening. I said that you can't get that anywhere else. Otherwise, you're starting using information that people are selling, which is already outdated.
Yeah.
And I want to add to that, Tanner, to what you said about the state of the industry right now, is that what we're seeing from a paid traffic perspective is that things have got difficult over the past year. But the hard part is that before there was a lot of cushion, right? Mm-hmm. It like ROAS was high. Yep. You know, people weren't even thinking really about media efficiency with their agency, and
the slop didn't matter.
We've seen, the slop didn't matter. Yep. So what we're seeing now is that our clients that are doing really well, they have all of those aspects well-rounded and dialed in. And the clients that are hurting the most, there's usually a couple of areas, including CRO or what, Build, Grow, Scale does, where they're hurting. There's a certain point in their site where they're dropping off, and it's affecting their whole business. It's affecting their payroll. It's affecting like all of these aspects and if they could just fix like a certain part of their business, and that's what, will be talked about at the event. Yes. And with Build, Grow, Scale is like, I went into one of the store owners. I'm not able to be as active within Build, Grow, Scale as a lot of like the store owners. They're there every week on all the calls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And just listening when I do pop in, guys, like Tanner said, they give you all of what they're doing. Oh, you want to do, SMS? Use this. If you're under 10 a month, do this. If you're over 10, do that. Oh, you need a good, whatever. This is the tool we use. So that's the value. And it really can change your whole business because right now things are tight. And it will get better as people present more solutions to the iOS problem, right? It is getting better. Mm-hmm. Anyway, just wanted to share that.
You're right.
This could literally change people's business.
And it's the thing is it's not, I talk about like, you got to optimize everything. Well, yeah, over time. But what we're going to do is we'll show you how to figure out what the low hanging fruit is, the biggest wins that are like, this is what's costing you the most money. Let's fix this one thing. Sometimes it is one thing and all of a sudden your ads start working again. And that one thing may have been a 20-minute fix, or maybe it's a 2-hour fix, whatever. But the thing that Eric said that I want to just drive home right now is, yes, it's tough. And I kind of painted a gloomy picture, and that's not to scare you, but I want you to be, I'm a big realist. I don't like to sugarcoat
people
things.
Know. They know it's tough.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep going.
Eric said the same thing, but it is getting better. But the thing is, he mentioned how there was a lot of cushion, and I said slop. Mm-hmm. Prior to this iOS rollout and this whole supply chain thing, but really the iOS, you could get by with a sloppy optimization, sloppy supply chain, sloppy this stuff. What's happening now is the market's tightening up, that slop is gone, and you can no longer survive by half-assing it.
Yep.
And no ad agency can save you if you're half-assing the rest of your business. And if you have a half-ass ad agency and you're half-assing your business, you're really screwed. I fully anticipate we're going to see two things happen in the next, I'd say 8 to 10 months. Number one, we're going to see more e-commerce businesses go belly up than ever before because they're not adapting and they're not learning and they're not figuring out what needs to do. But what's going to happen? We're going to lose a lot of stores, but the ones that make it through are going to be poised for a massive growth curve and explosion.
Humongous.
Because the market's going to clear out.
Yep.
More people are getting online. It's just and everybody's tightening up and dialing in their systems, and it's just creating this powder keg that's going to explode in an amazing way. So I don't want you, and I know Eric and Jason don't want you to be one of those stores that goes belly up over the next 6 to 8 months.
Yep.
The first thing that I can suggest to help you solve that is to come to the event. You could buy a course, you could join our program, you could do all these things. They're all going to take a little bit longer to get the broad scale effect than just coming to an event and crash coursing with us for 3 days.
Yep.
And that's going to get you the biggest impact and bang for your buck.
Awesome.
And then if you absolutely can't, and I know some of you guys are in Australia and you can't get out of the country or whatever, or you're in Canada and they won't let you come back in if you're not vaxxed or whatever, I get it. Grab the book. That's the next best thing you can do, or buy the recordings to the event or whatever. But you will not get the same effect or the same effort or help from a recording or from a live stream or from anything like that, being in the room, you'll be able to literally pop your laptop open and show me, show my staff, show Jason, show Eric, everybody. Yep. Hey guys, like here's my ad account. They're not going to charge you for that. They're in the room to help. Yep. I'm not going to charge you. You're at the event. We're all there to help. So if you want that hands-on attention, you got to be at the event. All right. And I'm not trying, again, I sound like a hypey douchebag right now, but I'm serious. I believe it so hard that people need this right now. It's been a really rough 2 years for most people in terms of just life, social aspects, stupid politics, all of that.
Yep.
None of that's going to matter once you're in the room. We're all going to be, and it's going to recharge everybody's batteries for an amazing 2022.
Well, and that was a really good point, just to kind of cap it off. That was a really good point of, before, when live events were everywhere, before lockdown and everything, since then to now, literally the world has changed. Like everything's gone digital, even Amazon expanding what you can buy on Amazon versus Shopify. So it's really a good, a critical time to regroup and make sure that there is no slop.
Yep.
And that you're in tune with what other store owners are doing to succeed. And that's going to be, I won't go into that, the plans for the booth and all. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what you guys do. But so the event, guys, is Build, Grow, Scale Live, buildgrowscalelive.com. They'll have the links in the show notes and everything else. But in case you're listening and you just want to go there right now, buildgrowscalelive.com.
Yep. Awesome.
And
awesome.
Happy to be guys, I'm happy. I need you guys on my podcast for one, but also let's do another episode and let's actually get into some actual tactical stuff.
Let's do it.
That your listeners can use.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And just to cap it off too, Tanner, again, thanks for being on. We appreciate it. I kind of did a similar thing when I was starting the agency. Going to an event will change your life. I dumped $15,000. I know you don't really know my background, Tanner, but I was a Los Angeles policeman for 14 years, made the switch, dumped 15 grand into a high level course, in-person high level course, just like your event will be. And that's where the magic happens. That's where you get to mingle. I mean, a VIP dinner for me changed my whole life, right? Yep. Like I interacted with agency owners that are doing $100, $200, $3,000 a month. They gave me a couple tips and next thing you know, like it was awesome. Right. Yep. So events can change your life completely.
And we will have a lot of those closed room things like you just talked about.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like these events can, and especially since we haven't been able to go to any events in 2 years, you know?
I'm just itching to see people in the same room with me, like be able to talk and high five,
shake hands, right? Yeah,
out.
Exactly. And you guys are not only you're not giving the same information you did 2 years ago at your last event. You're giving updated new information.
Honestly, guys, what our model has in terms of the way we optimize is completely different now than it was in 19. Now, normally it evolves, say 30% a year. That's just normal.
Yeah.
I would say we are like almost 100% different in how we do things now because we have to be, and it's changed, and we
totally
haven't been able to share that outside of our group.
Yeah. Yep. And Facebook's the same way too. I mean, we've had people coming to us saying, hey, our current agency can't report on this, can't report on that, can't do this. And we're like, well, we figured this out. We knew this was coming about 2 years ago. So we, because of the connections we have at Facebook. So, you got to figure shit out. If not, you're going to be left behind. So
totally.
But Tanner, thanks so much again. We appreciate it. We'll have all the links in the show notes. If you guys want to get tickets for the event, please do. Please come. We'll be there. Tanner, I know you don't know, but we're actually going to do some like live off the cuff audits. I'm going to do some audits for people's ad accounts like at our booth. So show up if you guys want an audit. We're going to be doing those. And we're also there to help. Just because we sponsored the event. Yes, we're a high level agency. We're also there to help. Come up to us, ask questions, and we'll be happy to help.
And they don't know this either, guys, but on Monday night, we have our roundtable mastermind meetup with all the attendees that choose to go to it, but they don't know it, but they're each going to run a table at that mastermind. And you guys can literally gang up on them at a table and ask all the questions you want and get all the help. They can share all their wizardry with you at that private event. So, and we'll have a couple other, like our ROs will be running tables. It's a whole mingling type thing. You can jump table to table. It's a badass thing. It's usually everybody's favorite part of the event, but surprise, surprise, guys, you guys are running a table.
Sick.
Awesome.
Oh, it'll be awesome. And I love the impromptu stuff because, that's when, just like you, Tanner, like I can kind of showcase how much I know about Facebook ads. You know what I mean? Like people don't realize how much goes into building solid ads. And guess what? You can ask me any question right there live in person, and I guarantee I'll have an answer for you. Anything Facebook ads. So, yeah, awesome. Well, thanks, man. We appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks.
Absolutely. Had fun.
All right.
Thank you so much for being on, Tanner.
Thanks, man. Hey, thanks so much for listening to The Truth About Social Ads. I really hope you enjoyed the episode. Please visit our website at truthaboutsocialads.com for show notes and additional episodes. And if you have time, please subscribe to the podcast and please consider rating and reviewing the show if you enjoyed it. That will help other people find us. By the way, I would love to hear from you. Please send me an email at jason@spotlightsocialllc.com with your feedback, questions, or a topic you'd like me to talk about on the show. If you send me a question, maybe I'll read it on the show. See you later. Bye.